Welcome everyone here at Frickers in Fremont, right on Route 53. If you're not doing anything, come on out. There's all sorts of sports contests on the TV. Right now we're looking at the Braves and the Phillies, I believe. Trying to pay attention to that along with some other sports center news. But glad to be here tonight. My name's John Cullen. I'll handle everything. And we've got a host of coaches. Tonight's O'Carver night. So we're going to talk to Mike May and some of his players and continue to talk about the good season that they're having and what's in front of them. I want to remind everybody that our network football schedule for this Friday is Fremont Ross will be at Toledo Wait. That's on Eagle 99, WFRO. I'll have my crew at Port Clinton as the Bellevue Redmen try to get on the winning ways as they travel up to Port Clinton on 92.1 The Wolf. Willard at Calvert. That'll be on WTTF AM 1600 and FM 93.3. Pretty big game up in this area. Perkins will be at Sandusky at Strobel Field on WLEC 1450 AM and 93.5. And then finally Clyde will be at Huron, and that's on 100.9 Coast Country. On Saturday, we've got Ohio State at Purdue, and that's on 92.1 The Wolf and WLEC. Bowling Green at Buffalo on Eagle 99 at 2:30. And then Tiffin University at Lake Erie. The Dragons having a pretty good year, and they're taking on Lake Erie on WMJK. So that's what we kind of have going on this week. And, of course, then if you're a pro football fan, a little bit of David and Goliath as the Browns will be entertaining the 49ers. And after watching their show the other night, it's kind of hard for me believing too many teams are going to beat the San Francisco 49ers, Coach Josh Waring from St. Joe with
I
me.
agree.
What do you think about the 49ers? Well, they look for real.
They look for real. I don't see a weakness. I mean, there's not a weakness on it that I've seen that anyone has been able to exploit. So, defense is tremendous. Kittle, and they can McCaffrey running the ball.
I mean, you know what he's going to do. You know what he's going to do. Yeah. It's not like, okay, this is a rocket scientist,
sure.
but you just still can't stop him.
Agreed. I mean, it'd be a nice position to be in.
Well, don't you think part of it's because of their defense, though, too? Because their defense is third in the league in defense of giving up points, and they just have the right balance between the amount of time they're on the field.
Sure.
I guess is what I'm saying.
Sure, you got a linebacker like Wagner. I mean,
right.
playing well, and you got Nick Bosa, holding it down the end.
Right.
It's a devastating combination.
Well, I think they got all pro players on both sides of the ball. Makes it a little difficult. Kind of not what you guys are going through this year,
Fair
right?
enough.
You've got just enough players to stay on the field and hopefully enough that are healthy enough to play. It's such a challenge nowadays, especially on the smaller school side of things. So you guys are in a position where this weekend, let's see who we have this weekend. You've got Lakota coming
Raiders.
into town,
Yep.
and that's an ex-St. Joe grad coming in, Michael Leno bringing his
Yep.
team. And I know that's always a special night for him.
It's homecoming too, by the way.
Oh, it is.
So
okay.
So how apropos.
It is. Yeah, it is kind of a homecoming for him. So we're talking out there prior to with Coach Joe from Gibsonburg about Lakota a little bit. And so you guys obviously still trying to get off the snide, looking for that one combination of offense, defense, and special teams that comes through.
Yep.
So tell us at this point in the season where things are at for you guys, how you doing health-wise, and what's the morale level, and are you coaching these last two games any differently than you have? Or is it still status quo, we're going with what we have, or are you making any changes? Or
Not significant changes. I mean, the personnel's still the same, and we're not switching guys around. We know what we have and who can play where.
Right.
So, that's it. And the morale's been great. I mean, they're still hanging in there. They're still fighting, and they're practicing hard. They practice hard. They condition hard, and so and it's been a pleasure to coach. Yeah, of course, we'd like to have the outcomes be different,
sure,
and be more competitive, but that's just not the situation we're in right now.
right?
But I couldn't ask for a better group of guys. I mean, they're doing, working hard, and that's the only way to get out of a situation like this. How do you do it? And that's put your nose to the grindstone and work.
Well, and that's never been a challenge for a St. Joe team because, they've always kind of been a little bit under the gun when it comes to numbers.
Sure.
And depth is not really there. So as we've talked multiple weeks, that a lot of kids are called into action a little bit sooner than what they physically, emotionally, and mentally are ready
Yep.
for because there's a necessity. So because of that, that obviously maybe squashes the current but prepares for the future.
It does.
Right?
It does. And I've said this before on the radio show. There's light at the end of the tunnel. It's just a really long tunnel.
Yeah, it's a
So
long tunnel.
yeah. So and we're getting reps with the younger guys even this week. We do have one injury to a starter, and we got to throw a freshman, at a very important position for us. So it's still it's great reps for them, and they've taken on to it, very well, and we'll see how it goes.
Well, the offense was unable to get anything
Sure.
going against Hopewell Loudon, who is a pretty good football team. We
Correct.
talked off the air, said you get the luxury of playing some of the top teams in the state in Division 6 and 7.
Yep.
Hopewell Loudon's there, Calvert's there, and you've got Lakota and Gibsonburg to finish it up, and those are two really good programs too.
Margaretta too. I mean, they've done
Right,
a
Margaret's playing well.
tremendous job. So yeah, it's it's a great league. I mean, if you want a great football league and basketball and then all the other sports as well, but
Sure.
I mean, you couldn't ask to be in a better, more competitive league. Obviously less us, but great notoriety, and I think they'll do very well. All the teams in the upcoming playoffs as well.
So tell me about Mike Leno's team.
Yep.
What are they going to try to do? Are they going to try to ground control it on you? Do they throw it up a lot, or are they a little bit more of a pound and ground?
And, they're a spread team, but they make no mistake. They want to run the ball, and
Yeah.
that's what I've seen. They got a very talented receiver that I see on film, and they will try to isolate him. Give him the ball, and they can run it as well. They'll run with the quarterback, and they make a lot of adjustments, on the line based on how we're aligned or how
Right.
the defense is aligned. So we got to keep that in mind as well. But I would expect, just try to run it as much as possible.
Well, and so for offensively, what are you guys going to? What's your biggest challenge going to be on the defensive side? What kind of defense are they running?
It seems like a 4-4. I mean, we've got to protect against. They're going to bring all man up. They will man up the outside receivers.
All right, so they'll run all man.
So, because they do have an athletic ball club. They do. I mean, he's got athletes. All the whole team is athletic. So we're going to have to do some things to help with the all-out blitz and have some packages in there to help us out with that.
So you're in a position where, at least from a momentum standpoint, it'd be nice just to kind of get the offense rolling a little bit early in the ball game, so they can have, just have that little extra octane in the tank.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because it's so hard because the offense has struggled this year.
Sure.
But having a good drive here or there or getting some points on the board, it just makes the next trip on the field a little bit easier.
Agreed. I mean, to sustain drives,
Right.
there's been, and not so much this last game, but we've had we were moving the ball consistently, and then you have one mistake,
Right.
whether it's a fumble or a drop pass. We've had I can't count how many times those situations have happened, and so it's if we can be consistent up and down the let's put a drive together where
Sure.
we get in the end zone and go from there. Against Hopewell Loudon, like we said, it was number 3 team in the state. Their first offensive play last week, we intercepted it.
Yeah.
And 27-yard return, down to probably about the 20-yard line. Couldn't get the ball in, but we did have some quick momentum,
Sure.
real quick. But that was a good thing to see. And we actually won the turnover battle against Hopewell Loudon. We didn't turn the ball over once, and we got a fumble recovery as well.
Wow.
So yeah, it was there's things you can start hanging your hat on.
That adds up.
It does. I mean, typically when you win the turnover battle, you put yourself in position to win. We just couldn't come away with any points from it, or use it to our advantage. But I was very proud of the boys, how they did that, how they were able to win that turnover battle. That's the first time it's happened all year.
Well, and the nice thing about that too is that your defense is kind of like your offense would like to be. How do I say this? You would like your offense to sustain enough drives to help take break on the defense, even though most everybody's playing
That's
both
exactly
ways.
right. So you
it's
just
not
turn
like
around.
you're not platooning. Yeah. Well, do you want to hit or be hit? Which one do you want
Sure.
it to be, right?
Agreed.
And that's one of those. Hey, I'll see you on the other side here in a few plays. So you're not platooning, and of course you just don't have the numbers to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to. Really can't take a break. I mean, I guess offense would. It's really hard to say which one would be more taxing because I mean, that the guys just the ball's in a different team's hands. So
Right.
and it's the same guys back and forth. For the most part, we have I think one exception. To that. So, but our guys do condition. I mean, we condition harder. With that in mind, knowing that hey, you're gonna have to go. You got to play these 48 minutes. And, we prepare for that. We know it's coming.
Right.
So, at this point, we're in pretty decent shape in terms of being able to handle that. But, unfortunately, these games seem to get out of our, out of our hand right, soon.
Sure.
Too quick. So that's really, that's one of the focuses we had last week. Let's not let things get out of hand real quick. They did return the opening kickoff. So we've learned from that, and we've got some things we're going to do with that. And, and on their first offensive, we had an interception right away. So, are we making progress? It doesn't look like it on paper. But, yeah, we are making some progress in some real key, situations.
Well, it's kind of like you have to determine, what's the positive, what's the negative.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no one ever makes excuses at St. Joe Central, and
Sure.
never have.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing that I respect about the program and the supporters. It's because no one says, well, we only have this many, or we don't have this, or,
Sure.
they moved out here, this person came up there. It really doesn't matter. You play the game with the cards that you're dealt with, but all those cards are willing to give everything they have in that situation. So you're really making young men. Obviously, they'd like to walk away and say, well, we won a few football games when I was there. But, they're still going to walk around with a lesson of being able to apply yourself and be committed to something
Sure.
that is going to do them much more in the game of life than it maybe is on a Friday or Saturday, just because of the analytics of what you're dealing with.
Sure. That's really what we talk about in our team meetings is to, what are you going to do when you face adversity? Are you going to just, feel sorry for yourself and mope and cry? Or are you going to, try to, formulate a plan and attack it and work? And that's the only way to get out of it. That is. I mean, you can try to, pick your poison. Do you want to run it? Do you want to throw it? Do you want to, do you want to defend the run? Do you want to defend the pass? I mean, you can't do it all. And so you try to formulate a way to make one version of yourself as best as, the best thing it can be.
Well, the good news is that's what's happening over there on Krogan Street.
Sure.
You guys are making the best version of what you can.
Yep.
And we want to encourage everybody to come on out and watch this game. I mean, it's at home. It's in Fremont. Why not come out and support your local high schools and get a chance to watch the Streaks as they take on Lakota? And it should have pretty good attendance in that game. It should be hopefully good weather. I've been listening off the side that we've got rain coming in the next couple days. I'm not sure what the forecast is for Friday.
They have backed the weather off, significantly
Have they?
this week. It was supposed to rain. It's supposed to rain.
Right.
It was supposed to rain tomorrow, and so hopefully we get a nice night, especially for homecoming. And
Yeah.
you don't want to rain on the kids' parade, especially the homecoming.
Literally the parade.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
So we'd like to have a nice night, and for football. I mean, he's only a couple games left, so let's
Right.
Try to make the most of it.
Absolutely. You're going to walk away with memories no matter what.
Sure.
All right, so that's Josh Waring, head coach at St. Joe. They've got Lakota, and come and check them out this weekend as they have that ball game here in Fremont. Take a break and bring in Mike May from Oak Harbor. It's Oak Harbor night tonight here at Frickers, and you are listening to the High School Coaches Show on Eagle 99. It's a dangerous point in the year to be undefeated. Do you start to feel a little bit of that as the weeks move on? I mean, I know that you can wear it two ways. You can wear it like, hey, we've earned it, and we're going to continue to roll down. But, you know, just humanity would say, are the kids in a position where, they can handle a little adversity? And I know last week you had a pretty tough opponent, and you guys showed last week that you were ready for it.
Yeah, it seems like, since we're having a good season, that the season is just absolutely flying by. It's hard to believe we're this late in the season, and we have a great group of kids that we love to coach every day. We have great camaraderie on our team, and last week we were definitely tested. We were fortunate to beat a very good Genoa football team, and
that was there, right?
It was there,
on
and we really had to battle. It was only 7-0 at halftime, and the game went all the way down to the wire. Our kids are really excited to be in the position we're in, and big game this week. Looking for hopefully NBC championship to clinch a share of it this Friday.
And this is not your first time in that league, but your first year since you left the SBC.
Yeah.
So coming in and making a statement wouldn't be such a bad thing, would it?
No, that's been our goal all along. We're real fortunate last year to win the SBC Bay in our last year in that.
Right.
And then to come in and be able to compete for an NBC championship in our first year. Really, we talked about that all off season.
Sure.
To be able to
Well,
do that.
I always, when I do my games, I give the scores and I track on ScoreStream. I'm going, this is a tight game. And then at the end, I saw you guys pull away. So you guys, another shutout. You've had 4 this year. So half your games you've had shutouts. 3 of the other games, you've only given up 1 touchdown. And against Otsego, you gave up 3, but you scored 49. You guys are averaging over 40 points a game, more like about 46, and they held you to 21. But a 21-0 win is pretty solid against a team that was 6-1 at the time you met them. And we looked at this with Genoa. They're in the playoff picture. They're in your division, right? In your region.
Yes.
And they're a pretty good team. They're right behind Liberty Benton, sitting at number 7. So if they win this week, there's a probably good chance that they're going to get a home game. You guys are sitting at 3, and you're not behind Edison by very much. Edison has beaten a few teams that have scored and won for them, so it's holding them up in the playoff picture. But for you guys, averaging over 45 points a game and giving up, I think I did the math. You guys have given about 40 points on the entire season. So, which one is the most productive? The offense or the defense? Because I know they help each other an awful lot, but I mean, if you say you got one side of the ball to hang your hat on, which one's it going to be?
I don't know if I really could say honestly. I think we played very, complementary football this year. And you look at our scores; they're all very similar.
Right.
I think we've been very consistent throughout the season. And
you have.
What I love about our offense is we can be physical and run the ball, but we also have outstanding playmakers at the skill positions. We're very athletic, probably the fastest team. Definitely the fastest team we've had since I've been in Oak Harbor. And then our defense is our varsity defense is only given up 3 touchdowns the entire season. Some of those scores that are on there were from our JV and freshmen.
Sure.
So I think we played well on both sides, and really in the special teams too. All 3 phases we've been solid. So I just think we played very good complementary football, I think, this year so far.
Well, and looking at the new conference, of course, you had a little bit different schedule this year. You picked up Maumee and Rossford. You've got Fostoria, Otsego. You got Eastwood this week. Eastwood's a pretty solid football team, and they're always noted to have some speed.
Yeah.
And how did you match up with those guys size-wise? What are you going to expect from Eastwood?
They have good size, and like you mentioned, Eastwood always has great athletes. And
they do.
You have a new coach this year, and actually their coach, Sam Cotterman, I coached him when he was in high school. I started off coaching at Elmwood High School in the late 90s, and Sam
really?
was
wow.
all-Ohio lineman there, went on to University of Findlay, had a great career.
Sure.
So I've known Sam for a long time, and he's doing a great job this year. But it's offensively, they have a lot of explosive football players that can make plays, and they're really skilled in the running game. Their quarterback's a really good runner, and they also can throw it around too. Defensively, they run the ball really well. Team speed. This is the fastest team we've played, as far as opponents so far, and so I think it's going to be, just one heck of a football game.
And that game's at Eastwood. So
it is at Eastwood.
So these 2 tough games, you guys are on the road.
Yep, we are, and that's where our season ended last year. Also, the second round of playoffs. So, heading back there again, but. It's always a fun place to play, and we've had really a pretty good rivalry with them through the years. We've met them in
Sure.
the playoffs. We used to play them non-league, and so we know them very well. They know us very well, and I think it's going to be a great game.
Well, all intents and purposes, it's probably going to be the highlighted game in the area, I think. And the two of you guys go at each other. Of course, Eastwood would like nothing better than to try and trip you guys up. But in the other case, you guys have been so consistent. It might be good for you guys to have a game like this at this point in the season.
Oh, I think it is.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, you got running clock. I can't say I'm a fan or not a fan of a running clock. The one detriment I think that it has is that it limits the amount of reps you can get your second stringers or your third stringers because the clock's moving so fast. You might get one possession or two at the most instead of like, okay, we're going to get 20 plays in with these guys.
Yeah.
So I think it's hard to develop your program that way. But I think the other thing it does is it keeps your frontline players healthier.
Sure.
And so, I mean, it's a trade-off. At this point in the season, you kind of need both, right?
Right, and we've been on both sides of those running clocks
Yeah,
too.
I know.
Yeah. When you're losing by a lot, it's kind of nice to get out of
let's
there.
Get
and,
out of here. Yeah.
when you're winning, obviously everyone wants to be on the winning end, but it's nice to get the young kids in, and you still have the JV games, and we have a freshman team, so those kids are still getting action. But to be able to get those young kids, we've been able to get the young kids in quite a bit on Friday nights, and those kids playing on the Friday Night Lights, there's nothing like it. It keeps them excited and interested, and
it helps them keep focused when it's their turn full time.
Yeah.
There's a difference playing on Saturday morning
Oh, sure.
versus playing Friday night.
Yeah.
And Friday night, it's like it's just got that little extra oomph to it. And I will tell you that your kids are getting a lot of playing time, and it just continues to help build the program. So this team, kind of a little reminiscent of the last playoff team that, the Jack Alexander years that you guys went deep in the playoffs. You had a little bit of everything. You had a lot of good athletes, a lot of good speed, nice mixture of size. Is there any comparisons between these two teams and how they're playing or what options you have to call with this offense and the defense?
Yeah, I think they're very similar teams actually. This year we actually have more depth. Back in 19, we probably had 7 guys playing both ways.
Right.
This year we're down to about 2 guys that are full time playing both ways.
Man.
So, and that's helped us.
That's
like
a huge difference.
It makes a huge difference. And one of our best players has been out now for about 4 weeks. Carson Reidner. He's a starting middle linebacker, tailback, and we've been able to have guys step up with our depth, on both sides. And we're very fortunate. Tailback, we're about 4 deep.
Are you going to get him back, or is he done?
Yeah, no, he'll be back here soon.
Good.
Not sure quite when, but we'll have
Probably
him back
chomping
here.
at the bit. To
Oh,
get
he
on the
is.
field.
Yeah, he definitely is. You can
Is he a
tell to
senior?
practice every day.
Is
No,
he
he's a junior.
He's a junior.
He's a
like,
junior,
"Hey, man,
but
don't,
yeah,
don't take this past me."
No, he's excited to get back. So, yeah, our depth, I think we have more this year. And overall, more team speed. Probably the skill positions, I think we're a little faster than we were back then.
Yeah.
But both teams compare pretty well, I think.
Well, do you ever get these guys back to talk to your young kids now and say, "Hey, listen, we remember being at this point in one time of the season, and this is what you've got to face," and just let them kind of, because they're going to listen to it from different people, different ways.
Oh, right. Yeah,
the
absolutely.
coaching,
Yeah, during the summer, we always have guys stopping in. We have some of those guys still playing college football. And
Right. I know they are.
our quarterback from that year is playing basketball down at Marietta, Jack Alexander. So, Jack comes back, and Clay Schulte, and Dowling boys and some of those guys. So, yeah, they pop in. It's always nice to have those guys
Yeah,
around.
the Dowling boys turned into animals.
Yes, they did.
Playing at Concordia, is that what they
Yes, yeah, they
play?
are.
Up in Michigan, yeah.
Yep.
It seems like a lot of kids from the area end up. That's D2, right?
Yeah, it's NAI.
Oh,
yeah,
NAI, yeah. So, but they get to play up in there, so that's kind of good. It kind of lays a little bit of a groundwork for kind of what to expect.
Right.
So, if you had to pick the one thing that you'd like for your team to do on the road here against Eastwood, what would it be?
Defensively, we have to prevent big plays. They're a big play offense. They got 3-4 guys can take it a distance anytime. And offensively, we need to establish a run and then let our skill guys go out and make some big plays also.
Sure.
So I think those are going to be the keys. And they have the best kicker we've seen by far. Like, he puts it in the end zone on kickoffs and can kick long field goals. So the special teams battle is going to be huge for us.
Well, doesn't that always come into play in tight games?
Always.
Yeah, I was
does.
talking
Yeah.
out here with these other coaches, and they were telling me how they thought the kicker from Lakota was good. And I'd said that Perkins has got a pretty good kicker. And that all comes to play in tight games in the playoffs because it might be that extra point that makes the difference,
Yeah,
right? And
absolutely.
so you kind of have confidence on how you're going to call a game if you know you got somebody that can put it through them.
Yep, there's no
Uprights.
doubt about it. Right.
Makes it a little bit easier at least,
It,
right?
it sure does.
Say, what do you think? I don't know. Can we? I don't know. I don't know. And good punting and field position and all that stuff. Well, we hope that you guys can have a good, solid show there on the road. That would be a big feather in your cap if you guys can win these 2 games on the road and really prepare you for the season to come.
Yeah, I think so.
I would think so too. But first thing first, you got a game against Eastwood, then you're at home against Lake, and then let the playoffs become what they are, right?
Right. Yep. And
What?
these, Genoa and Eastwood, that's 2 playoff teams right there.
Right.
So it's almost
No.
like the playoffs kind of started already.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It prepares you for that.
Yep.
Like, I was sitting there looking at some of these other schools and what they've got to deal with, and it's never easy, and you don't always get to pick and choose when you're going to play the tough teams in your schedule. So, like Perkins and Columbian have to play the last game of the season, and Hopewell and Calvert play the last game of the season.
Be a lot of
So
good games.
There's
there,
going to be
Dan.
a lot of good games next week. I'm kind of wishing I didn't have to do one, to be honest, so that I could go watch one of them, right? Because there's going to be some good football being played. All right, well, listen, we'll take a timeout. We'll come in and talk with some of your players and get to know them a little bit, as it is Oak Harbor night tonight here at Frickers. And remind you, you are listening to the High School Coaches Show live here tonight on Eagle 99. Everybody, we are live on YouTube. Is that correct, Nick? We're live on YouTube, so if you want to get online and check out these guys, make sure that they're here. We've got one coach back here. He's really shy. We can never get him on the radio anyhow. But to show that we got the Oak Harbor clan here tonight, and just had a nice conversation with Mike May, and so we got 2 of his players here. I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves. Tell me your name, what year you are, and what you play. I'll go with you first.
I am Kellen Picklehop. I play left tackle, and I'm a senior.
Right, left tackle, and
My name is Garrett Lindsay. I play right guard, and I'm a senior.
all right. So we got 2 seniors and we got linemen.
Yep.
All right, that means you guys are going to eat a lot here tonight.
Oh,
Absolutely.
They always say the linemen, they can pound it, but sometimes those little guys can eat a lot of food too.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't ever count those
It's
little
like
guys out.
Yeah, no. So tell me, guys. This is. Let's see. Did you guys start in junior high? Did you start playing like in 7th grade?
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you play in biddy programs before that? Did they have the tackle biddy programs
Yep.
when you guys
Yep.
were playing?
Yep.
Really? So let me ask you a question about that. When you're first doing that, and just learning kind of what football's all about. What do you think when you're a kid that little and you're playing football? Is it like, do you think about, yeah, we want to win this game? Or you're thinking about, I can't wait till I get bigger and play in the varsity or up in the high school? I mean, what thoughts go through a kid? Because I'm thinking back then you haven't really had that much experience. You don't, or somebody lights you up. Maybe somebody goes ahead, and I don't know if you guys have been playing line your whole life or not.
Yeah.
But you get lit up by somebody thinking, oh, dang, man, I don't know if I want to do that anymore. Or, what kind of mindset do these little guys have? And then tell me the trek as you go from that to junior high to JV to varsity, how things maybe change or your mindset towards the game. So I'll go with you first.
Well, in my opinion, I believe that it was just wanting to beat the guy in front of you. That's
Really?
always what I've been told from family members. My good old uncle, he always told me, win your battle out in front of you. That's what football is all about.
Right.
You do your
Just
job.
one-on-one, do your job.
Yep. The mindset really didn't change too much for me to JV because I didn't play much JV. I've been starting right guard for 3 years. I had a good opportunity back during COVID to overtake a spot, and I capitalized on that opportunity.
Good.
And again, that mindset's just always been the same. Always wanting to kick the guy in front of you.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of how it is. It's a battle, right? And Coach told me that there's very few you guys that are playing both ways.
Yeah, not a lot of guys that are
So
playing both
how's
ways.
that feel? I'll stick with you, and then we'll go over to you. How does that feel? Because you know what it's like having to play both ways. I'm sure at different times you've had to.
Absolutely.
I mean, here you're just playing one side of the main. Does that help you with your focus? And does it help you with your conditioning? Like, okay, I've got my break. I can go out here and lay it out. Is that kind of how it works? Or-
Yeah, I think it definitely does help with conditioning in terms of you can go out there and you're only playing one way, so you're kind of expected to play maybe just a little bit harder because you're only playing one way.
Yeah, you're not saving a little bit in the tank because you know you're getting
No,
ready to go
you
on
give
defense.
it, absolutely, you give it
Just
all.
give it 100% and just lay it all out there.
Yep.
All right, so how about for you? So tell me what it's been like for you this track through Oak Harbor football.
Well, I kind of started as a new guy, right? So I joined the program a little late in 7th grade, but I never started. I didn't really start till this year even, but I just kept progressing and progressing and progressing. And our coaches always say you got to have a couple screws loose to play O-line. So, like you said, you just want to beat the guy across from you, and that's what I ended up doing.
Well, so if you had your choice, rather pass block or run block?
Oh, run block all day.
I get that answer all the time. Because, I
Yep.
mean, think about it.
Yep.
You know where you want to go.
Yep.
They don't.
Exactly.
And my job is to get you over here, right?
Yep.
And so I've always said that teams that can run the ball well, it's a momentum thing, right? It's
Yep.
like once you know you got somebody, you go back and say, hey, listen, man, we got this guy right here. Let's just keep running this
That good
side.
old smash mouth football.
Yeah,
That's
just
Yep.
let's
how
give
it
it
was
what we
back in the
got,
day.
right? Yeah. Well, when I played, there wasn't a lot of passing back then, and there was mainly running the ball. And I remember we'd have a player or two that always worked, and one guy would come back and said, hey, listen, every time I pull, this guy's getting right in the way. Just keep on
Yeah.
running, and you just get so much momentum. It kind of pulls you all together.
It,
like-
it wears the defense down.
Oh, yeah.
And you're chewing time off the clock. If you're throwing passes all the
Yeah.
time, it stops the clock.
Yeah.
Once you get that
well,
incompletion.
it kind of takes the heart away from the person, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You can tell when they want to give up. They're getting up
Exactly.
slow, hands on hips kind of stuff, and
Yeah,
they
that's
just want to
slow,
quit.
not
Yeah,
getting up
and they
at
maybe
all.
look at you a little differently.
Look
right?
at you a little different. The
They're not
coaches
gonna
are
stare you in
screaming
the
at
eyes.
them.
Yeah, they're not staring you in the eyes like they were in the beginning. They're just kind of going,
Yep.
okay.
Moseying down in their stances, waiting like,
Yeah.
when they going to snap the ball?
Yeah, okay, what's going to happen here, right? It's
Yeah.
all good. So were you guys in 8th grade when the last team went deep in the playoffs?
Yes.
Yeah.
2019.
So what was it like when you're there knowing, hey, we're just one step away from getting in high school? Did any of that motivate you seeing the success that they had?
Absolutely.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I just couldn't wait to play high school football.
Yep.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
get
See,
that opportunity out there
especially with
underneath
our
the Friday
coaches
Night
and
Lights.
everything.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing is, too, it's the whole community thing.
Yeah.
I've been doing sports for 38 years out of Fremont, and so I've seen the effect of communities like Oak Harbor and communities that have success. I mean, you're like all one big family, right?
Yeah, they always.
It's not like
Community's
playing
always
in this.
backing
It's
us
not
up.
like the city league where you're lucky if you got anybody to travel with you.
Yep.
Yeah.
But here, the whole town is there
Oh
for
yeah.
Always.
you, and you've got to be able to feel that, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Every
I
game
mean, that
you feel
would
it.
pump me up. Like, hey, man, they're all sitting there rooting for you.
Yep.
It's like-
Especially at the away games, they're traveling right there with you.
yeah,
So,
that makes it great. So, do you have any younger brothers at all that are in the program?
Yes.
yes.
You both do,
Yeah, I got one that's a sophomore. He's left guard, but there's potential he might take right guard
right?
next year.
And how about for you?
I have one. He's in 7th grade, and
Uh-huh.
I think he's probably going to be pretty good. He's
Yeah.
pretty good. Yep.
Good. Well, he's got somebody good to learn from, right?
Yep. Well, he plays quarterback, so there's not
he
much I
does?
can do.
Yeah, you can. You can chase him and
Yeah.
tell him what it feels like if
Yeah.
There you
he
go.
doesn't
There
do
you
the
go.
right job. What's it going to feel like to get
Oh, yeah.
to get lit up once in a while? Yeah, you don't want to hurt him, but it is what it is. So I've got some. I guess they're my niece's kids that play Coach Sweet's boys,
Yeah.
and watching them get older and bigger, and they're in the gym and they're playing all the time, and I like to stick around enough to see them kids play, but you just see how things develop, and here for you guys, this is it, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
You only get one shot your
Yeah.
senior year.
This
Leave
is
it all on the field.
So
Yep.
you guys are going to build memories now that you'll take with you, and when you have a class reunion 10 years from now, 20 years from now, you're going to say, hey, remember when we traveled over to Genoa, man, and
Yeah.
we shut them out? You remember that?
Absolutely. Oh,
Th-
we'll,
those
we'll
are good
definitely remember that one.
Those are
Yeah.
good conversations, aren't they?
Yep.
Well, you guys have a great success, and we wish you the best. Let's see if we can get two more guys in here to finish up the
Yeah,
conversation.
thanks for having us.
They're looking a little shy, but we'll get two of you.
Come on now, Scotty.
Come on over, guys. They're not jumping at the chance. You tell them how easy this is.
Oh,
It's
it's a
easy.
piece of cake.
Yeah.
Just get on the
Just
mic and
talking.
talk.
Yeah, just like we're sitting up in the stands talking about whatever.
Yep.
All right, let you guys hand off here. Go ahead. Need one of you here and one of you over there. Thanks, guys. All right, so you good?
Yep.
You guys all right? Can you hear all right?
Yep.
All right, good. So we got another couple guys in here. I guarantee you these guys is this an all lineman night or what is it tonight?
Yeah.
It is?
Senior
All right, so go ahead and tell me who you are, what you play, and what year you're in.
Scott Smith. I'm a center. I'm a senior.
You're center, okay.
My name is Evan Hall. I'm a senior, and I play defensive tackle and left guard.
All right, so you're one of the couple guys that goes both ways.
Yep.
All right, so there's only a few of you.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, well, then, so that means double duty for you guys.
Yep.
Well, I'm sure you probably like it that way, though, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's sometimes it's hard because you got to be in shape, but I mean, as the season goes on, you obviously get better and
You
better
get
in
used to
shape,
it.
and you get used to it. And
Well, it's a little bit easier when you're winning big,
yep. Oh,
and then you're
yeah.
going on defense and you want to return the favor, right?
Yep.
See, the always thing, I played both sides, too, and I said, like, I hated getting hit, but I loved hitting people.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, okay, I got lit up on that play, but the next guy comes across me, I'm gonna I'm gonna lay one in there, and it kind of evened things out for you. So you're the center. How many years have you been playing center for Oak Harbor?
Ever since like Biddy.
Oh, really? Yeah, they just said this guy's a center, and thank God your body worked out and grew to that position, right?
Yeah, he started on varsity as like a sixth grader.
As a
so.
sixth grader, wow. Well, we're not gonna tell anybody about your eligibility because we don't want them to, have you forfeit some games because you played when you're in seventh grade in high school. So.
Don't want him to worry.
Don't want me to worry. So, so is it true? Do the centers call out a lot on the offense when you guys are lining up? Are you calling out defense, or you calling different calls to the other linemen?
Yeah, I'm calling it like the front. Like what defense they're in.
Uh-huh.
And I'm helping out people like where they're going, doing stuff like that.
Well, I think that's kind of important because, when you guys are getting ready for a game, you see certain things. But what's it like when you see something that you're not ready for? I mean, how important it is for you guys to communicate.
I mean, we just kind of wing it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen so much in practice. I mean, these coaches have done a great job getting us ready and prepared for a lot of the defensive schemes and defensive fronts that we'll play against. And, I mean, if something comes up in a game, 9 times out of 10 we've seen it in practice. So, I mean, we just kind of make our calls and we run with it. And
Yes,
just
I mean,
roll.
so if you see something, they're sliding into something, okay, that's this.
yeah.
And you guys then can react accordingly. The thing they want you to do is not to think about it so much, but just go ahead and do what you're
Yep.
going to do, right?
Yes,
So
it
did
is.
you say you guys are both seniors?
Yeah.
Yep.
So what's it like for you guys knowing that, you're undefeated right now? Do you feel any pressure from that?
Not really.
I mean, not really. I mean, we've all, our senior class this year has been so close to each other through the years that we just go out there and play football.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's the way you want it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you always say that it's like that movie 300. You ever see that movie 300 where I think it's like a Greek thing where there's 300 of these soldiers that are taking out a big, huge, overrun group, big army, and they lasted a lot longer than people thought because they were willing to die for the guy next to them. So when you guys are close like that, you're not. And let's say you have a bad play, you're gonna have a bad play once in a while.
Yep.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, at Eastwood, something's gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys are gonna go like, crap, we let that guy get around the corner or something, or whatever. You know, the goal is not to point fingers, but to press in.
I think we hold ourselves accountable pretty well. We've been
You know what I mean?
yeah, we've been a team together since 5th, 6th grade all the way up. So I think we hold each other accountable really well.
See, a lot of times, you know, guys that aren't together, they want to do this. Well, you know, and point fingers. It's not going to help anybody.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are at the season. It takes everybody to be on the same page. So it sounds like Coach May's done a good job with you guys, and you guys are, you know, have played very good football. Probably one of the more consistent programs. I didn't get a chance to see any of your games. Hopefully, maybe in the playoffs we'll get a chance to do some. But tell me about Eastwood and what you're seeing about them.
Yeah, I mean this is without a doubt probably the best team that we have seen so far, especially on film. Their defensive line, their guys play hard. They run to the ball. Their linebackers, they get to the ball and they'll hit. They're not afraid to stick their nose in anything. So I think in practice this week and preparing, we got to continue to bring our A game. And when we go out there Friday, we just got to go play Oak Harbor football, and we got to out-physical them.
You know, like when you one guy, I forget his first name, that was playing guard with the longer hair. He had said, you know, the game plan is to beat the guy in front of you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you keep it simple, you know, eventually that all adds up.
Yep.
And then, you know, there might be a little crack in the action.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd hate to beat Eastwood at home, taking on an undefeated team. In my mindset, I might try to whip myself into a frenzy and say, yeah, we got this, you know, we can do this. But if it doesn't start to work out,
Yeah.
that balloon could blow.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that emotion is only going to carry you so far. You've got to execute, right?
Yeah.
And for you guys, I mean, you've been doing it all year long, so it's not like you have to do anything different. You just got to mostly keep your mindset right, and you guys are healthy, which is good, and that's one of the values of playing good football. That you know nobody's overrun, and you guys are in a good place. So we'd like to see you keep it going, and wish you guys the best. That game's at Eastwood, and it's going to be, I think, the premier game here in Northern Ohio.
I think so too.
We'll be keeping an eye on it for you guys and wish you guys the best. And thanks for taking time to hang out with us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank
All
you.
right, these are our friends from Oak Harbor. It's Oak Harbor football night tonight. We'll take a time out. We'll come back, and we will bring in, I believe, Ryan Carter from the Clyde Flyers. So stay tuned. We'll continue on our Fremont Frickers High School Coaches Show live on Eagle 99. Joe. And tonight, well, we have one of our regulars here, Coach Ryan Carter from the Clyde Flyers, and we're going to talk a little bit about last Friday. We're going to talk a little bit about this Friday. Flyers, a tough loss, 3 tough losses in a row, but this last one was probably one of the most unique football games I've done maybe in my career. Sandusky came in, we talked about them. They're big, they're athletic, they're disciplined. They're just a good football team, and their record a lot better than what it would look like on paper. But this game went down the wire, and I saw, and I had to ask my sideline reporter, I said, what's going on down there? And this early in the game, he says, well, Sandusky's a little bit bigger, look a little bit quicker. He said, but Clyde is playing hard. And your kids stepped up and did something that I was not expecting them to do. I mean, they really, I thought, throughout the whole ball game, even though it was nip and tuck and turnovers by both teams, I thought they consistently really let it all on the field that night.
Yeah, we did. I was extremely pleased with our effort. We had a couple of guys, and you saw it, JC, a couple of young guys filling in there and doing great things for us. And I was so proud of them. But you just want to get over that hump with them and get that win so that they know what that feels like when you put in all that work and you put in that hard effort and you get the reward for it. A lot of times in life it doesn't work out that way. So we had to flip the page. We had to, flip the script a little bit and, scoop them up off the turf on Friday night and get them back in there on Saturday morning and continue to go forward because it's a tough thing. Sports are a tough thing, and it's sometimes you're on top, sometimes you're not. Sometimes the ball bounces your way, sometimes it doesn't. And I thought we gave ourselves a chance down the stretch. We put ourselves in a position where we could win. We just didn't get over the hump to win. So you got to bounce back. You got to go forward, and that's what we're trying to do this week against Huron.
Well, how did the kids respond after – that was one of my concerns. How did they respond to that? Because there were so many emotional ups and downs in that game.
It's tough. It's tough. We had to talk a few of them into getting the ice bath on Saturday morning and flush it out of your system and do what you can do to to get over it and come back next week with a positive attitude, positive mindset, and let's go day by day and get a little bit better next week because we have a number of kids that are moving parts right now as far as who's in the lineup, who's out of the lineup. Changing positions, playing something different than you played each week, and we have a number of those guys, and that's not always easy. Being comfortable as a high school football player is so important, and if you can play with some continuity and play with the same position, the same kids set next to you, the same type of system, that bodes very well for a high school kid. On the same token, when you're a high school program and you have kids that are banged up and hurt, and you got to move kids around to try to fill spots, you don't always get that continuity. So that's what we're dealing with, and we got to deal with it again this week. We had a few kids that went out in that Sandusky game that we're not going to have back this week for Huron, but it is what it is. I mean, I said this a million times. Nobody's going to feel sorry for us. Nobody's going to. Nobody's going to say, poor Clyde. It's not. You're not going to hear that. So,
Never.
And we know that, and we understand that. And we're gonna prepare ourselves accordingly.
Well, a couple observations that I thought of. First of all, Sandusky is an exceptionally good running team. And, they could have easily, tried to shorten the game on you guys. Yeah. And they couldn't. And I even though their running back was just spectacular.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And their quarterback made good choices when he had the ball in his hands. But they couldn't crack you guys. And I thought, that really says something about the way the defense was playing and how things went. On the other hand, you made a quarterback change. So what facilitated that?
We didn't really make a change. To be 100% honest with you, we're playing both of them. Drake brings some things to the table that Johnny can't do yet.
Right.
With being a sophomore and being a kid that was his first live Friday night game experience. We thought he played great. We thought he did things well. There's just some things that we feel more comfortable with Drake running, so that's going to continue again this week. We part of the switch, honestly, was we needed some help defensively, and Drake was a player for us defensively early on in the year until Brennan got hurt, and then when Brennan went down, we had to put him at quarterback, and I didn't want to play him on defense as well, and then take the risk of losing another quarterback.
Yeah.
But at this point, we've lost a couple other defensive players, and we need some help defensively. So Johnny had kept progressing. He could play a little bit for us, so we're kind of splitting time, which allows us to get Drake on the field defensively.
Well,
so
I saw Drake playing defense. I said, okay, so maybe we're switching this out. No, the other thing is with Johnny's that, you can tell he's young, but he did something that I've been kind of hoping that your offense would do a little more often, and just hit that center seam on the defense. It seems like it's there. He was really comfortable passing that way. I mean, I thought he saw it well, he threw it well, and I was like, okay, he's a young guy. He's not afraid to go ahead and do it. And they weren't like, oh no, it's like one of those, dear God, please catch him. They were there.
Yeah, the moment wasn't too big for him.
No,
let's put it that way.
He looked very mature.
He did, and that's a credit to him and his preparation, even when he wasn't playing. His preparation on Saturday mornings at the JV level and continuing to get those reps. That's credit to him. But Friday nights change a lot of things, and you could tell that he wasn't the moment wasn't too big for him. So we were proud of him. Would have loved to get out of there with a win for him and just continue to boost that confidence. But we're gonna go back at it this week. We got to go to Huron, who was a very good football team.
Now there's gonna be a passing team you're gonna run into this weekend. I mean, they'll run the football, but they like to throw it. And of course, I saw them against Bellevue, and I thought they played very well. They had continuity. I was trying to explain this to somebody because they're giving me their take on the Browns and DTR and all this stuff. I said, listen, Dorian Thompson didn't know he was going to quarterback the team till like about 11 o'clock in the morning. Do you think they had time to change the game plan for him? No. And so, therefore, you've got all these timing. Everything's relatable on timing and comfortability. So now you got different quarterbacks, all different timing. The linemen are holding their blocks different length of time. Everything changes. You can't just automatically be good at that.
Yeah, you could see it in the Browns game. The cadence changes.
Right.
They had a number of false starts and a number of lineup penalties that, it's just and we've went through it
at every level.
We've went through it. We've had to change twofold since week 3 and 4 with some of our guys, but. That is part of it. That is part of every level. We're doing the best that we can. I think our kids have responded tremendously. They have.
I don't think you could ask for more than what you're getting.
No,
from them.
and they're giving us everything they have, and we're deficient in some areas, but our kids are not lacking effort, and for that I'm proud of them.
Well, I noticed that number 18, Senstock, is getting into the game a little bit. And
Cole and AY,
yeah.
Both of them ran the football the other night for us, and Johnny playing a little bit. We got some young wide receivers out there playing.
Right, I noticed that.
Some young kids on defense. Dawson Brimmer has played a ton for us. So, I mean, we were John, I said this, after the first couple of weeks, we played Bellevue and then we played a couple City League teams. And I told my wife, I said, I'm really, really excited about this team. I loved our chemical makeup. I loved what our kids were doing. We were fully committed. We were bought in. And then, things change.
Right.
And you lose a couple of kids and you lose a couple of your leaders, and you need to adjust. And what happened was we needed to adjust in that time frame of a tough part of our schedule.
Right.
After Cardinal Mooney, you go to Port Clinton and you get the ship right a little bit, but then you got to roll with Perkins, Columbian, and Sandusky.
Yeah, Perkins 7-0, Columbian 7-1, Sandusky a good 4-3 team at the time.
So, it's tough. It's tough to try to get kids comfortable and teach them the ropes when you're playing against high quality football teams.
It's like trying to fight up a weight class.
It is. And, but it is what it is. We have another tough one this week with Huron.
Yeah, you do.
And quite frankly, you're going to run into a team in Week 10 in Norwalk that is going to be battling for their playoff lives.
They are.
So we know that we're going to get their best effort too. So we have our work cut out for us. We have to, we have to continue to grow as a football team. And I think our kids are doing that, to be honest with you.
Well, when we talked about it up on the air, Mike and we talked, and I said, listen. I said, Mike, there is a don't give up mentality right now on the field. This is a team that's got it handed to them pretty hard by Perkins and then Columbian. And then here against Sandusky, I said, this makes you what kind of person you are, whether you give up or you push in. And they were pushing in, so you can't answer any more than that. It's just a matter of the rest of the pieces kind of falling back into place and taking what you get from it and moving forward with it.
And you know what, John? That's life. You take punches. You know that as well as I do, man. That is teaching kids good life lessons, and you get up and you continue to work at it, and if you give into it, that's kind of the easy way out. So we're trying to go forward, teaching our kids life lessons, and we do what we can do. We're going to go out and give it everything we can on Friday night. And if we come up short, we're going to regroup. We're going to go back at it in week 10.
Well, that's why you got the schedule. You're going to play what's there, and you guys have never made excuses for anything. I was telling fans in the stands where they always question me, and I said, listen, 7 out of 10 years, Clyde will win a game against Perkins, Columbia, and Sandusky. But I said, in this year, just the way the Cards are playing out, they're on the upper side of it from a standpoint of momentum, size, talent, whatever. I said, it happens. It happens in life. I said, but this team is going to grow from these challenges, and you can see it happening. So I hope you guys have a good game against Huron. For the Clyde fans, that's going to be on 100.9 this weekend. That game will be. So if they want to hear it, unless they decide to go to Huron, then you should go. But if you can't travel up there, you'll be able to hear it live on 100.9.
I appreciate it, JC. Thanks for everything.
No, Ryan Carter, head coach at Clyde, a big game at Huron this weekend. We'll take a final timeout, bring in the head coach of the Fremont Ross Little Giants, and that's Chad Long. And we'll be right back after this on Eagle 99. No problem. Out here, and want to remind you are listening to Eagle 99 Fremont, WFRO. And so, Chad, Toledo Waite this week.
Yep.
And Toledo Waite, their one win is against Rogers, but they have been competitive in quite a few of their ball games.
Yeah.
The Waite Indians, correct?
Yep.
All right,
Yep.
so in that game is you're playing at home.
No, at Wait.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, we're at Wait.
Okay, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. You're there. So I've not been to that complex. I know that that's a massively big school, but I don't know what their field conditions are. Do they have turf up there? Or
Yeah, they do have turf. I've been there one other time, and that's when I was at Clyde when we played in the Snow Bowl game against
that's
Oak
right.
Harbor. So that was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a really long time ago.
And we're all here still to talk about
Yep,
it. So.
yep. So it's a pretty cool setting. Sits down in the bowl is what
Right, it's a
what
bowl,
most
right.
people call it, and we're excited to go there and get better.
So you guys have Southview last week,
Mm-hmm.
had a game at home. So what was the turning point in that ball game for you guys?
Second half. I mean, first half I thought we played really
I
good.
was tracking it, and it seemed
Yeah.
like, okay, you guys have
So-
your handle on the wheel. of
So
this
I
game.
thought, to be honest with you, I thought we played very well, physical against their offense, our defense being. And we ended up going in at halftime 7-7. We gave up a reverse, cut back, and all that. Not for a touchdown, but got them down
Big
there
play.
to score. Yeah.
Yeah.
And going in at halftime, I'm like, man, this is great. You know, we're beating them up front. You know, we're physical. They couldn't block us on defense. Offense, we were running the ball, and just the wheels fell off in the second half, and you know, Southview took it to us, and we had too many 3 and outs on the offensive side.
So the defense ended up spending too much time on the field.
Yep.
Got tired.
Yep.
Boy, that's a simple equation, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
I say it all the time. It's like, you know, why do you think the Browns gave up so many points to whatever? I said, because they're on the field all freaking day long. That's why. I mean,
at some
it's just
point,
the way, it's just the way it is.
at some point, you know, everyone wears down, and
Yeah.
you're bound to give up something big. And you know, Southview, credit to them, and hopefully we'll see them in the playoffs coming up in another 3 weeks, 2 weeks.
So you guys are sitting at 16 right now. So if
We're
they held
16.
the playoffs today, you'd be in.
Yeah, and we definitely don't want to play Avon. That
You
would
don't wanna
that would
play
be
Avon.
no, absolutely not. But if we win our next 2, like we should, we could go as high as 11, which where we're projected at, and that would be against Southview again.
Oh, so you could
So
a
it'd
little
be a
payback.
rematch. Yeah, a little
And
rematch.
that would be at their place?
It'd be at third place. They have grass, and you know, it is what it is. But yeah, we definitely want a rematch game against them.
So in the first half, the team was operating the way you want them. Let's run the ball. Let's win some line of scrimmage. Defense is holding well.
Yeah.
You know, let's just get our hands on the wheel of this game and drive it a little bit.
Yep. Basically, the defense dominated the whole first half. I would say, besides that one play where they had a reverse and cut back and we over pursued. But offensively, we were able to run the ball. We were able to move the ball. We just couldn't put points on the board.
Yeah.
You know, besides our one touchdown, I believe J.D. Moncrief had that. And, you know, it's just it's a game I wish we could have back and play
Yeah.
again. So, you know, it's
Well, football's
disappointing
Football's
and-
kind of like algebra.
Oh,
You got
yeah.
to get both sides of the ball working in
Yeah.
conjunction so that you don't get too heavily balanced on one of them trying to carry you.
Oh,
Now, it's different
absolutely.
if your offense is scoring every time you got the
Oh,
ball.
yeah.
The defense can
yeah,
not be that way.
Absolutely.
But when it's tight and you're trying to find that balance, it's just what it is,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And they're kids. And so you've got Wade. What do we know about the Wade Indians?
Small up front. Really good quarterback who can scramble around. Doesn't like the run, but he does scramble around by time, and then he throws it up to the receivers and so forth. Defensively, they stun a little bit and so forth, but they're like a 40 front, and you know, we just can't have any room for error. We
Right.
can't turn the ball over. We gotta make tackles. We gotta not give up the big plays. We just gotta be crisp, and that's one thing we're looking forward to is play good Fremont football. Something we haven't put together for 4 quarters, and we're still looking and searching to have happen.
Well, this is the time of year you need it to happen, right?
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, too, it's – I don't want to say this. I mean, you guys have had some games that you'd like to have back.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt about it. But at the same time, you catch a little bit, and sooner or later, things fall into place.
Yeah.
And if you're going to have them fall into place, right now is the time for it to happen. You win a
Yeah.
couple, you get a little bit better playoff
Agree.
position, maybe win a game in the playoffs. Now
Yeah.
all of a sudden you've got something you haven't had, and
Yeah.
that's momentum this year.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's these kids work so hard, and it's just we always have a good week of practice, and then it's a matter of making mistakes in games, and it costs us. It costs us games, and these kids, they bust their butts during the
They do.
week. They look the part, and we go in and we're doing well, and then the wheels fall off, and it's just it's disappointing. I feel bad for the kids, because they want to win. They're trying, and it's just not happening. And it's we don't have any slouch of games that I can say this year that that we can look at and say, yeah, they're not very good.
Right.
But I think these next two games are very winnable games for us, and I hope we can get something mustered up, and we can put some points on the board on the offensive side and get a couple shutouts on the defensive side.
Well, the good news is with Waite, they've only got one win, but should you be able to deal with Bowling Green, who's got 5 wins on the season,
Yeah.
that obviously will help you in the computer situation.
Yep.
And get you guys going. So how's the experience been being in the NLL this year for you?
It's a class act conference. We haven't played Napoleon. I have never. Well, when I was at Clyde,
Right,
we
played
played against
Napoleon.
Napoleon, and they
Right.
were a tough, physical team.
Right.
And that's exactly what they were. And it's been nice playing them. We used to play Southview when I was coaching, and
Right.
we're back playing them. Playing Clay is normal. Playing Clay, you got
Sure.
to stop their athletic quarterback that's been there, seems like, for years, and he still has one more year.
He does.
And
It's crazy.
no, I mean, it's fine. I mean, it's the typical guys where we play Whitmer and Finley, and then you throw in the curveball with Perrysburg, who I thought
Right.
was very, like, the most sound beating we've had was against
Perrysburg.
Perrysburg. And then they've lost 2 games this year.
They have, which I thought was surprising.
Yeah, it is very shocking to me because I thought they were well coached, very fundamentally sound, and yeah. But I mean, I like the competition. I think it's fair competition. Teams are going to have their ups and downs, and it's just the way it is. But it's more competitive.
Right.
Let's say that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I think that's what you guys were looking for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it just take a little bit to wear that conference and get used to it. And are you still going to keep is Whitmer and Finley and those and Sandusky, those squads also going to stay in the schedule for you
Yeah.
guys moving forward?
Yep. The only thing I don't really see a change. I think our AD talked in 2025. I think we're going to pick up St. John's instead of playing against Waite.
Oh,
So I think that'll be our only
Oh.
change in which we will have. But with Tiffin, Columbian, and Sandusky, that'll always be our
Right.
2 non-conference games.
sure.
And then we'll pick up St. John's later
Yeah.
on in the year, I think in 2025. So, yeah, I mean, we're going to get used to playing these guys, and we're stuck in this schedule for 2 years, and then we'll do the enrollment, and then it
Do the
could
enrollment,
change
see where
us
things
where,
go.
yeah, see if we're the top 2 in the Cardinal. If that's the case, then we'll play the top 3 in the other.
Is that how it works?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
you guys do it. The top 2 in the Cardinal play the top 3 in the
Yep.
Buckeye?
Yep. And then the bottom 2 plays the
other
bottom
ones.
3. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah,
Yeah.
just all based off enrollment.
Yeah.
So
Well,
so it's kind of cool. It could be
equity.
change, or could not be.
It's fluid.
So yeah, we'll see what happens.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Well, listen, so we hope you guys have a great game against Waite, obviously. And you have the playoffs within your eyesight. It's just
Yep.
a matter of executing and trying to get across the finish line with that. So a couple big games this weekend. Finley at Whitmer.
Yeah,
That ought to be a pretty big game, and that's what in your Buckeye division.
I will go with Finley in that
Will
game.
you? Yeah.
I like my buddy Kenny Winters, and you can never go against him. But
Yeah.
Finley's pretty tough.
They're pretty tough. Well, on that Sandusky Bay Conference, a big game is Perkins and Sandusky. I don't know if you've seen Perkins on tape. at all,
I've
but
seen a lot of Perkins.
They're-
Jalen's doing a heck of a job.
He
That's a
is.
fine-oiled machine. Seems like they've been playing and practicing together for a long time.
I don't I don't see any weaknesses on their
Yeah,
team.
I don't, because they can run the ball, they can throw the ball, and they got multiple kids to throw the ball to, deep, short, all over. That's a
They got-
dangerous team.
And they have size.
Yes, and they
and
have size
speed.
up front, and you know, a
Their
lot of
special
people.
teams is good
A lot
too.
of people's talking about the Tiffin and Perkins game, and yeah, it sounds good, but Perkins gonna roll in that.
Yeah,
Tiffin, my best friend's the defense coordinator, but
right.
it's hard to stop that
Yeah.
kind of offense. And
Well-
I really have high expectations for Perkins. I
Yeah.
believe they can definitely make it to the state championship, if not win it. So
Well, I've seen a lot of good football teams this year, and I would have to say they're the most complete football team that I've seen. And the fact that, Clyde, lost them 31-7 or whatever it
Yeah.
was a tribute to how hard they played in that game, because they're all the air pressure in those tires was exactly the same. They all rolled together, man.
Yeah.
They and played good, clean football.
yeah, I mean, one thing you're never gonna get from Clyde is kids that
Yeah.
back down. They're always
Right.
gonna step up, no matter who's injured or not. They'll always play tough.
Then in the SBC, you've got Hopewell and Calvert, both state ranked, both undefeated. They'll play the last week of the season.
I'll take Hopewell on that
Yeah,
one.
Hopewell. Josh Waring told me, he said they're for real.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
they're the real deal.
Talking to Kodge, that he said this is probably his best team he's coached, and he's
Oh, really?
coached a state champ and a
Yeah.
state runner-up team.
Yeah.
So he said that's probably the most complete, best team he's had, and
Wow.
they just had a run just not too long ago with
Yeah.
Kodge as well. So
Yeah.
at the helm.
And then our friends here behind us, Oak Harbor, here tonight.
Oh, yeah.
They've got Eastwood. They had Genoa, which is an awful good team on the road. They got Eastwood on the road, and then they finish up with, I can't remember who it is. But somebody that they should be able to
That's
win against.
Lake. They got to play
Lake,
Lake
yeah.
still. That's a good conference.
Yeah.
That's a really good conference. Excited for Oak Harbor and the show. Their dominance there as well.
All right, so last thing, we always are remiss if we don't talk a little bit about, our beloved Cleveland Browns. So, in a position where their quarterback can't play, and so talking about, as we were talking to Mike May and about Ryan Carter about continuity and all that stuff. It's awful hard to win at any level, let alone you've got all these mix-up. Now you have 49ers. Anybody that watched football saw the 49ers and the Cowboys, looked at them and thought, this I don't know who's going to beat the 49ers.
Yeah, it's tough, man. They got to.
They just play
really.
they play with a continuity. Man.
Yeah,
It's
they play together as a team. It's also great to have one of the best running backs, running and receiving out of the backfield, and they got multiple guys they can
Yeah.
throw to, as well as what
Solid
is it?
defense.
Purdy, is that the
Yeah.
quarterback? That's we were just talking as
Brock
coaching staff
Purdy.
we were talking as a coaching staff. He is the next Tom Brady,
yeah.
and he's picked last in the draft, last
Here's
pick in the
yeah,
draft.
Yeah.
And to see what he's doing, and
He hasn't lost a regular season game.
yeah, that's impressive. And then you're not even counting their defense. Their defense is unreal. So,
Yeah.
barring any injuries, I could see them obviously being in the Super Bowl,
Yeah. Well,
probably against Kansas City or
when you watch teams and you watch that, you just realize that there's no missing links here. And I think the trade for McCaffrey really is what did it for them.
oh, big time.
Because
Yeah.
he gives, whoever quarterback they have,
Yeah,
gives them that solid game. And the other thing is the way that Shanahan calls. I mean, you have tight ends doing revert. There's no. It's always this guy that's going to do it.
Yeah.
They mix it up.
yeah. He does an excellent job, and
And they're coming into Cleveland, and Cleveland's been a bye week. Oh, they should be healthy. Well, they're not healthy.
yeah, they're
But
not.
Tonio's still beat up, and
Yeah.
Garrett's coming off a foot, and you got your third string quarterback's going to start, and it just doesn't get any easier for them. But there's still a lot of games left, and
Yeah.
hopefully Watson will find his way, and they'll gel, because there's a lot of games left to play
Yeah,
on the schedule. But
there's a lot. It's just disappointing he didn't play in the last game before,
Right.
the bye week, and that's a winnable game. I thought they could
Right.
easily won that game if Watson played, and I don't know. Maybe they're thinking holding them out this game, which I know has already been indicated, I believe. But I'm sure Browns are going to create turnovers and stuff on the defensive side.
sometimes I don't know if the 49ers will do it, but sometimes teams will take their eye off the ball a little bit when they see they've got a
Yeah.
opponent that they, and they just don't want to give Cleveland any life in that
Yeah.
game. Let's put it that
Yeah.
way.
You give them
You don't
some
wanna
life,
give 'em
they can
some
be
life.
dangerous.
They can be dangerous. Things
Yep.
can happen. Turnovers happen. Defense steps up. We'll see how it goes. Well, good luck this weekend,
Thank you.
and come get a win and get ready for your last week, and then hopefully there'll be some extra innings for you guys moving forward. Eh?
Yeah, hopefully. So.
All right. Well, keep everybody healthy too.
All right.
All right,
thank you.
so that's Chad Long. We had Josh Waring with us this afternoon. Excuse me. We had Mike May and the Oak Harbor players. Ryan Carter from Clyde, Chad Long here. We got Shelby as our chief engineer back at the station, and Nick handling our on-site engineering. So, for all of our friends at Frickers, this is John Cohn saying good night from our high school football coaches show here live tonight on Eagle 99. Good night and God bless.